We've had a beautiful question that has come through from a female, and she writes, I find it hard to come into connection with my lover after any time apart. It takes me hours to soften and find the way. Can you help me improve this? Great question. There's a few things that instantly pop up for me that I have some curiosity about, but we don't have time really to go into all of that now. But just to add some context would be really helpful. More about your relationship, more about how long you've been together, how long apart have you had, what's your rhythm and routine, and what's your flow together. So it would be something I'd want to explore deeper with you before I moved into a bit of a generic answer. But for the sake of this time and space, I will give you some headlines of what I'm thinking and feeling in response. And I just can relate myself, even though I spend a lot of time with my primary partner, I do find that we need to sometimes just shift the energy so we can connect. We're both doing our days driven by often masculine energy. We live in a dominated masculine world where we've got to produce and move at quite a pace, and we've got to tick off the jobs list. And so often for me personally, I need to come into my feminine and I need to come into my flow and my sensuality before I can move into connection with most people. So that's something for me personally that's quite a starter. Shifting from my masculine dominated energy to my feminine dominated energy. And I'm curious as to whether that might help you too. So what kind of job are you doing? Where have you come from? What's the energy? And shall we shift it? Once we have looked into the sort of shifting flip side of being more feminine led, and I wouldn't necessarily think that that's the case for everybody, but for me it certainly is. Softening into my feminine, which means I'm opening and I'm becoming more receptive. It means I'm slowing down, and it means I'm becoming more body conscious. So I'm feeling my somatic body much more. And then I can start to really connect with my needs and my desires. This is a really important first stage for me. And then moving into a practice of eye to eye. If you don't know this practice, I would say that this is one of my number one goes to with any kind of need for slowing down and connecting with the other. But it also really helps me connect to myself. And the practice of the eye to eye is really simple. Get into a comfortable space, clear your mind, let everything go, and be utterly present with this moment that you're in. Sit at a height level where you can be fairly neutral in your eye to eye height, so you're not looking up or looking down, and just sit opposite your partner and look at them in the eyes. And as you start to begin, you just drop the shoulders, drop the belly, drop everything that you're holding, sink into the floor. I often rest my hands on my legs, palms up or palms down. Don't worry about that. And just look. Look directly into them and notice right away how you're breathing. To begin, I just let all the breath go. I don't think too much about it, and I just keep sinking in. As you're doing this, you're sinking more into yourself. The first stage of eye to eye is connecting to you, not necessarily connecting to them at this point. You're connecting to you, and they are connecting to themselves, and you're guiding each other and helping each other be accountable to that, helping each other come into presence with yourself. By looking through their eyes, you're looking back at yourself and feeling yourself. And just give that some time. Doesn't matter if you laugh, doesn't matter if you smile, doesn't matter if you blink a lot or you look at jumping around. Just keep coming back to dropping everything and giving each other that eye to eye. Now I bring in the breath work. At this point, when I've let everything go and I know that they are also melting in, then I start to connect to them and I start to use my breath. And the breath is easy. It's in through the nose and it's out through the mouth, in through the nose out through the mouth, very relaxed, keeping everything dropped. But don't worry too much. If that feels embarrassing or silly, just breathe as you normally would. Don't get too hooked on the detail. It's more about just sinking and melting and grounding and letting go, starting to notice. So often you'll find when I'm doing eye to eye, I start to move because the energy is starting to circle and move in my body. I'm so well practiced in it that my body knows what it wants to do, and it takes me on a journey. Trust your body and move as it wants to move, allowing things to stir, rise up, and give space for. The beautiful thing about eye to eye is as you're really getting into it and really loosening and letting go, you almost start to drink in the other person. So if you're a super sensitive person, this can be when actually you can start to feel them in ways that can feel uncomfortable. And this is when you might find that they're feeling uncomfortable because of maybe anxiety that you're hosting in your body. So this is when you can actually start doing the work for each other and with each other to start breathing that through, giving space and capacity to expand and letting it release. So I always love to use sound in my breath as I'm doing eye to eye. Often if I'm with a new partner doing the eye to eye practice, this can make them feel a bit uncomfortable. So I always just gauge about what's appropriate for the person that I'm with. But the eye to eye practice can also be done with yourself in the mirror. You are just as good as a partner to yourself as anyone will be. In fact, if I'm honest, you need to practice being the best partner to yourself. Because if we can be the best partner to ourselves, then of course we know exactly what we're going to be wanting to achieve with outside partnerships. So if you don't have a partner to work through, I'm just focusing on me. What a brilliant practice partner. You can do that with a phone like I'm doing right now, or you could do it in the mirror. I often have this practiced with my clients using a mirror, getting them to become really familiar with themselves, to almost get to a point where it's like an out-of-body experience. And you could actually have loads of practices like that, which we can talk about another time, that can be really sensual and loving and self-caring. But for this particular practice, if you're with your partner, to answer your question in particular about how to connect with your partner after a long break, then this is a brilliant start. Don't worry about how much time really that you give it. I would encourage you to build it up. So the first few times that you do it, just do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes. But if you can practice building and building that up, the longer you do it, you'll find you have different experiences. You can actually get to the point where you can get quite high on your breath together, and you can actually experience some very crazy experiences where you see different faces and you see different images, and you can go off into a whole other world. But that maybe isn't for now. So we're into the eye to eye, we're breathing, we're loosening, we're letting go, we're connecting to ourselves, we're now connecting to them, we're doing the work of the nervous system on behalf of them and for ourselves, and vice versa. This delicious energy is happening and sparking between you both. And that can be releasing, it can be quite emotionally led, or it can be quite spiritually enlivening. All is welcome. Following that practice, when you feel ready to, you can then move into just dropping the gaze and becoming more, just relaxed. And then just move into sharing with the I. So you're never going to share you always share I. And you can keep this quite standard and simple just for ease. I feel, I wish for, I'm sad about, I'm resentful about, I'm angry about, I'm excited about, I'm hoping for, whatever it might be, you take turns. So if I start with I'm feeling sad about, then my partner would say, I'm feeling sad about, and we would explore together where each other are at. And this is such a nice grounding experience that just, again, keeps that safety and element of opening. From this space, you can quickly move into, I need. And after you really explore your needs and you've really heard the needs coming from your partner, You can also, if you choose to, move into I desire from this time together. I hope for from this time together, with no expectations and no pressure. You're just sharing at this point. And I love to move into some kind of platonic and safe and nurturing and nourishing touch at this point. Something slow, something considered. In fact, the slower the better. Taking the hand and just giving time to be with the hand of your partner, or touching the face or the earlobes, which my partner won't let me do, and I really love doing it, so I find other partners to do it with. Or just tickling or brushing the hair, whatever it might be. It needs to be consensual, it needs to feel good, but again, it's just slowing down. And it's like a thank you. It's like a lovely, beautiful thank you using soft, platonic touch. And then from here, we're grounded now. We're feeling good most times. And if we're not, we're feeling something maybe deeply emotional, maybe deeply vulnerable. Maybe we have been stirred, and maybe it's up here, maybe it's messy. Welcome it. Both responses are absolutely fine. Why? Because it's what's alive in you, and it's what's alive in this moment. And it's the invitation to then do something with that and to explore that whilst you're connected in safety with your partner. So whatever it might be, now is the time in which you can create some agreements about what you've heard and what you've shared, and how is this time going to be together. And this creates the most amazing time, whatever it might be, painful or pleasurable or a mix of both. But I highly would encourage this practice, starting with the eye to eye for you.